screencast on metabolism. Metabolism is the sum of all of the chemical processes in your cells. We're going to focus on how cellular respiration and photosynthesis are essential for us to be alive. This is why we also call this on just how we stay alive. This is all about energy. We should know that all organisms need energy and that the ultimate source of energy is the sun. Photosynthesis is the name of the process by which plants make chemical energy, as in food, using sun energy. Please keep in mind that other organisms besides plants can use photosynthesis, such as algae and some types of bacteria. Then all organisms, this includes bacteria, protists, plants, fungus, and animals, all use cellular respiration because we have to take the organic compounds or the food that we eat or produce for a plant and release the energy from that in order to drive our cellular processes. Autotrophs are going to use photosynthesis, and then they'll use cellular respiration to get the ATP out of there, and heterotrophs will eat autotrophs directly or indirectly to get their energy. Remember that another name for autotroph is a producer, another name for heterotroph is a consumer. Adenosine triphosphate is what we actually mean when we say energy in biology. Adenosine triphosphate can be abbreviated ATP. It works like a battery that will store chemical energy until it is needed by cells. In order to get the energy out, we have to access that battery or break off a phosphate and release the energy in order for a chemical process to occur. Now let's look at the big picture of this process. So again, plants are going to use sun energy to make food. This is photosynthesis. And then plants are going to either use the food they made, or an animal might eat that plant in order to get food. But right now, we've not yet made energy. And this is where we get to the big idea. Take a minute to really think about what this means. We're going to take sun energy. Using carbon dioxide and water, plants will convert this into glucose, C6H12O6, and oxygen gas. Then during cellular respiration, we will use this glucose to make ATP, or energy. As we do that, we're going to release some carbon dioxide and water that is then used in the process of photosynthesis. So in other words, this is a cycle. Each process depends on each other in order to make the energy that is needed for cellular processes. Photosynthesis. Please take a second to write down this equation. This is the overall input and output. We're going to talk a little bit about how the processes work to get our products made from these reactants. Remember that things on the left are the reactants, and the things on the right are the products. Carbon dioxide will be converted into glucose. Water will be split to release oxygen gas. So photosynthesis, our definition, is something that converts light energy into chemical energy. It is going to use light energy, carbon dioxide, and water. It will produce glucose and oxygen gas. This will occur in the chloroplast of plants. Here's a picture of what a chloroplast would actually look like under a microscope if we had one this powerful available to us. This is a picture of what we could see under the light microscopes. All the green dots, of course, are the chloroplast. Please take a second to draw this chloroplast. As you draw it, you do not need to label everything that is here. Instead, the structures you do need to label are the granum, the stroma, the thylakoid, and the inner and outer membrane. Chlorophylls are the pigments that actually make the plant green. Most of the chloroplasts are going to be found in the mesophyll of leaves. The pigments do not absorb green light, rather, they absorb everything but green. If you remember looking at the electromagnetic spectrum when you took physical science, or perhaps before then, you may remember that wavelengths determine the amount of energy. So we have everything from gamma rays all the way to the radio waves. What we care about is this short little spectrum of visible light. Each wavelength indicates a different amount of energy involved. Chlorophylls will reflect this green area right here, and that's why chlorophyll appears to be green. We also have some other pigments called carotenoids, and these are accessory pigments that will allow a plant to absorb more light. Looking at this graph right here, this absorption spectrum, we can see a little bit better of what is going on. So whenever the chlorophylls or the carotenoids are absorbing more light, well, we're going to have more photosynthesis occurring. The carotenoids are also responsible for fall colors of leaves. The chlorophyll is the first pigment to break down in the fall, leaving us with all these nice pretty colors. Now for a little bit more in the details of exactly how photosynthesis happens. Light energy is going to be captured by the chlorophyll, and we're going to transfer it into chemical energy. There are two sets of reactions that happen. The light reactions. This is actually going to use light energy, and we're going to take this powerful form of energy and gradually incorporate it into glucose eventually, but through the light reactions, we're going to temporarily store this energy in ATP and an energy-carrying molecule called NADPH. The light reactions will use water and release oxygen. This oxygen will diffuse out of the chloroplast and then be used in cellular respiration. This is going to occur on the thylakoid membrane. If you look back at your picture, you'll remember that all of these little discs were called thylakoids. The reason why there are so many of these in a chloroplast is that the more thylakoid membrane you have, the more light reactions can occur, so the more light we can use to make more glucose. Then we have the Calvin cycle reactions. Energy from ATP and NADPH is going to be used to fix carbon dioxide into glucose. So again, we took light energy, we converted it into ATP and NADPH, and now that energy is going to be put into glucose. And this will occur in the fluid of the chloroplast called the stroma. Now pause here, make sure you have all your notes from this screencast, and then you'll need to tune in to the second one on cellular respiration.